I'm going to start with, what is something that y'all learned on previous projects that you were determined to implement on call?
Boy,
Good
so
question.
fantastic question. I'd say pacing. I came up on Chicago PD, and those shows move pretty fast, and I certainly took that and we put that into the DNA of this show, keeping it moving.
Yeah. Honestly, I think that maybe this shows up on screen more subtly, but culture on set. I think that we had an amazing crew and cast, and from day one, we really stressed that it was a creative safe space and a family. And I
Mhm.
think that shows in the final product that we had an amazing time working with everyone on this. And the feedback that we've gotten is I think everyone else had a pretty good time too.
Yeah.
What were the discussions like about the camera perspective changes? Because I thought that was super interesting, but I'm curious, like, were there guidelines in the writer's room? Is it on the day? Is it found in the edit? Like, because it's such a unique thing.
It was part of the original pitch of the series. There's no more relatable lens than the cell phone today. And you see body cam, dash camera footage on the news, on the internet, to the point that using found footage as part of our visual language, we felt would make the series more immersive and more visceral. Like you're on the ground with these characters. And then in execution, we had an amazing director, two directors, a DP who was able to execute from a story standpoint. There were some very specific scenes that called for it in script, but in
Yeah.
large part, it was working it through it in production and figuring out when and where we should use that tool.
Yeah, if we were trying to heighten the tension, we would talk about that in the room through the body cam, but not necessarily. We don't really script that very much. It's just a given that they're going to wear the cameras, and we're going to film through the cameras.
So practically, those are functional body cameras.
They're
Y'all are just,
functional.
oh my
Yeah.
God, that's wild.
And the actors truly wore them too, so they're giving their
Right.
performance while also thinking about where their body camera is. It was
Yeah.
and from the wide angle lens standpoint, it completely changed staging for the crew
Yeah.
and so forth. So it was a lift from everyone involved, but I think it really made the show that much better.
Yeah, it definitely adds a texture to it. I am curious, without going into like too many spoilers, what changed the most from the version that was in like the first discussions and percolating your brains to the version we saw on screen?
I would say not much, quite honestly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really, I mean, we pretty much knew what we wanted to do from the moment we got in the writer's room, and I don't think we veered too far away from that.
Yeah, I think coming to the writer's room with a plan was key to our
Mm.
success. And inevitably, when you cast a series, when you work with as amazing of a group of actors as we have, they bring things to the characters that are unexpected. But in terms of story, I think to Tim's point, we knew where we were going.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, you mentioned the logistics of camera setups and accommodating for that, but emotionally, what was the most challenging part of making the show?
Emotionally, the writing for me is always the most difficult. If the script isn't there, it doesn't matter how you shoot it, doesn't matter what kind of cameras you use, doesn't matter how good the acting is. It's all in the writing, and that's the hardest part.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
Okay. This is a broader question, but I'm really curious. How do you define personal success now, and how's that changed from earlier in your lives?
Oh my goodness, what a
Little
question!
therapy.
The real question. Personal success is for me being happy. And before it wasn't about that. Before it was about the chasing the next job, chasing more money, and none of that's important to me anymore.
I was gonna say the exact same thing in terms of being happy, and ultimately, I think you get the best creative product
Mm.
when you create for yourself and create in what you're interested in. And um, yeah, I would say, do what you want to do and then make it the best possible version of that.
Thank you both so much. Congrats on the
Oh,
series.
well, thank
Thank you
you.
so
I
much.
appreciate
Appreciate
it.
the
Thank
time.
you.